Our next section is talking about you, okay? We're going to talk about setting direction for your life. Have you set a direction for your life? Have you been intentional and meaningful with your time and your life in general? What legacy are you leaving behind to your children? And what are you doing to support others around you? So we're going to talk a little bit about setting direction for your life. If you had to write a written manifesto of your life, what would it look like? I'm curious. Have you given it much thought? Have you thought about how you're going to be impacting not just your own life, but others around you? I'm curious about that. So we're going to explore a little more about that in this section. I really want you to ask yourself these questions. What will your mission be from this moment forward? Really think about that. So in this section, we're going to explore a couple of those things, and I want you to be able to answer these questions. And we're going to talk one-on-one and get a little more personal on how you are going to be very intentional and how you're going to set direction for your life. I want to know what your plan of action is going to be. You know, if you do want this to be a real deal for you, how are we going to make this happen? Okay, we're going to talk about a plan and how we're going to get that together for you. And again, we're going to talk about the steps, right? Because goals are easier attained when you have steps and the plan to help you get there. So we will talk one-on-one and really get this set up for just you. In this section, we're going to be talking about personal assessments. Now, do you know when was the last time anybody ever, okay, scratch that. Okay, in this section, we're going to be talking about individual and family assessments. It seems to me that communication has really lost its meaning in this day and age, whether it be because of the electronics, whether it could be busy schoolwork, activities after school, busy work lives, whatever the case may be. I want to talk to you about assessments. Where are you in your family system? Have you ever thought about maybe taking a personality profile? Do you have that one kid that you just have a hard time relating to? Do they have a hard time relating to you, to your significant other? So I will come alongside of you and I will give you assessments that you can take yourself in the privacy of your own home while I guide you through. We're going to do personality assessments, right? So we're going to figure out what makes you tick, what makes you go, and the certain things that are causing you to stumble. We're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about spiritual gifts. We have a spiritual gifts assessment that you can take as well. So many times we know that God has planted a seed in our heart, and we just don't know what to do with that seed. Why am I this way? Why did God make me this way? Is it me? Is it God? So God pre-wired us all very specifically. And yes, we all have spiritual gifts, and it's amazing when we find out what our gifts are, how to use them, and how we are better suited for certain types of positions in the work life, in our personal lives, in our spiritual lives. So it's really exciting to find that out. We're going to take some time to do some self-assessments. We're also going to do some family assessments, which is going to be exciting stuff. You'll get to know yourself on a more personal level for sure. Now, once you gain a better understanding of how you were uniquely wired, you would be surprised at the amount of answers you will have, and then you'll be able to really much plan your life accordingly once that knowledge is pretty much revealed to you. So in this section, we're going to be talking about those assessments, and I will be sending you some information. There's some links here, and I will be sending you some information. So I want you to take these assessments one at a time, along with your significant other, as well as your children. And then we're going to chat. We're all going to chat and figure out how we're going to best service each particular personality, looking at spiritual gifts, and we're also going to look at love languages. So this is going to be a really exciting section for both you and me. So really looking forward to seeing how this is going to play out in your life. Okay, so in this section, we're going to talk a little bit about careers. I was a school counselor for many, many years, and I'm excited to share that I was one of those individuals that the kids came to, the moms came to, dads came to, and we're like, what are they going to do for the rest of their lives? They don't have it figured out, and there's so much pressure put on kids to figure out what they're going to do for the rest of their lives when they're 15 and 16 years old. So I don't know about you, but I had no idea what I was going to do when I was 15 and 16 years old. But it seems that society has placed a lot of pressure on both the students and the parents to get it figured out. So we're going to walk through a couple of career options that your children may have. Well, first we have to look at their assessments, right? We have to figure out what they're good at, what they want to do. Now, they don't have to say, I want to be a lawyer, I want to be a doctor. They don't have to say that right now, but what makes them tick? So doing the personal assessments and analysis is going to be a great way for us to really get to know your student overall. Now, this is not just for the children. So there's a lot of adults that have put off going to school because they had to go and, make some money and take care of the house. But have you thought about going back to school? Have you thought about your career? Have you thought about a change in career? So we're going to talk a lot about career in this particular section for both the parents, the students, and anybody else who's in the family unit or can use a little bit of help finding direction. There are specific tools that we use to help you figure out more or less where you see yourself in the next coming years. So I will come alongside of you to provide a lot of academic support as well. I find that many times because of there's being either disconnect or busy schedules, a lot of times kids and families and parents don't really communicate as well as they want to. Now, is it because they don't want to? No, it's because life happens. So being an organization, I love to find time to really bring families together to build that communication. So this section is especially one of my favorites because this is when we get to figure out what mom and dad think, what the kids think, and then how we're going to all bring it together. And what's lovely is those are conversations over dinner that just seem to blossom over time. So we're really looking forward to helping you in this section. There's a couple of links below, and those are really good for us to start getting a better understanding of what you or your students might be looking at in the future. Looking forward to reviewing those with you. Hi, so in this section, we're going to talk about preparation. It's very common to hear people say that if you fail to plan, you plan to fail. How many of you have heard that in the past, right? And you know what, as cliche as that sounds, is actually very true. If you are not taking the necessary precautions, if you're not planning accordingly to build up to a lifestyle that you see yourself having, then more than likely you're probably not going to succeed at it. Sounds harsh, I know. But what I'm here to do is to come alongside of you to make sure that you're attaining every single goal that you set yourself up for to succeed. Okay? Really, really important for us to sit down and really think about, okay, what are we going to do to make sure that our lives are the most enhanced they can possibly be? Is it going to be perfect? No. Hard work? Definitely. Worth it? Yes, sirree. So we're going to go a little into what that's going to look like for you. So a lot of times we can talk about things such as, the grocery shopping. We have to talk about the laundry. There's so much for us to do in a day, and it just seems like it's impossible to get everything done. Well, let me tell you, there's not just one person in the household, and many times, especially as moms, we take on the responsibility, or dads, I don't want to discount the dads because there's a lot of hardworking dads out there, but it seems like we never have enough hours in the day. So here's my challenge to you. We all have 24 hours in one day, so I want to know what you're doing with that time. So I have a little handout for you here, and what I want you to do is fill out every bracket in which your time is spent and what it's spent in. So say you get up at 5 o'clock in the morning, right? You're doing what from 5 to 6 in the morning? What are you doing? What are you doing from 8 to 10? What are you doing from 12 to 2? So I want you to get this form and really start filling in all the gaps that are already occupied in your time. The first thing I want to do is find more time in your schedule. Sounds impossible, I know, but we're going to find it. And we're going to think about the things that are important to you. Once we've found that, then we're going to work together to develop a system that's customized just for you. Okay? Now, can I take anything off of your plate? Probably not. You still have to do what? The grocery shopping, the laundry, the meal prepping, and all that good stuff. What you don't know is that there's help out there for you, and it's sitting at home with you. Yes, in building communication with the family, it's very important that we involve them in the overall process, okay? So I'm going to talk about meal prepping and what that looks like. Very many forms to help you facilitate those things and to also engage both your kids and your spouse in the preparation of them all, okay? We're going to talk about meal prepping. How that works, how we can take one day out of the week, a couple hours a day, or a couple of 30-minute sections a day or a week to get this all accomplished. It sounds impossible, I know, but it's totally, totally doable. We're going to talk about grocery shopping. We're going to talk about chores. We're going to talk about meal prepping. We're going to talk about laundry. We're going to talk about dishes and all that other good stuff. So in this section, we're going to talk a little more about what you are needing in your home. Sometimes I found that one person handles everything in a home, and that's not fair to you or to everybody else. So we're developing these humans that are going to go out into the world, right? And the best skills that I've learned are to teach the kids at home what the real world's going to throw at them one day. I was a school principal, was in education for a long time. I work with kids of many ages, from preschool all the way to senior, getting ready to go into college. And I saw that a lot of times, a lot of these kids did not have the tools that they needed to survive on their own. They were going off to college and still, thinking about how they're going to get their laundry done, didn't know how to cook, didn't know how to do a whole bunch of stuff. And I started thinking, we're really doing a disservice to them. Now, as parents, we want to be able to just tell them, worry about school, don't worry about anything else. But are we really equipping them for the real world? So we're going to go ahead and try to stretch and grow you and try to figure out how we can best utilize the things that we have at home to help equip our kids to do the best that they can when they become adults later on in life. We're going to take some time and explore, sit individually, look at your family system, how it's working now, and how we can both work together to improve that and to make sure that everybody's getting a little piece of the load. Looking forward to sharing more information with you and handing over some handy dandy tools. We'll see you on the next section. Okay, so how many of us are thinking there's just no way we're going to find time? I have all these projects to do on top of my daily task, on top of my weekly task, but on top of everything else I have to do. Well, you know what? There is a way. So I have a download for you here. And what I want you to do is go ahead and download that. And I want you to write down all the projects that you see yourself wanting to complete, okay? Even though it may seem impossible right now, you may feel like you don't have the time or the money to do it, I still want you to write them down, because things that are written down on paper are somehow more easily attained. So if you have a project, say you have a project that you want to paint your garage, or you want to build a cabinet, or you want to do some landscaping outside, or you want to paint a certain room, whatever the project may be, I want you to write that down on this sheet of paper. On the right, you will see there's a column that asks how much time it would take. So I want you to pretty much guesstimate more or less how long that project would take to complete from start to finish. Once you had that down, I want you to go ahead and get everything down the line, because sometimes we have more than one project. Put them on this piece of paper, and you'll be surprised once we sit down and think about how much time each of them will take. Look at your busy lifestyle already. Try to figure out how to plug it in. Great things will happen. I need you to trust the process. It really works. So looking forward to taking a look at all your projects and trying to figure out how we're going to make those happen. And here's why. So many times we're caught up in life and we go to bed, we're super tired, and we look at those projects that have been half started, maybe thinking about, and they weigh on our shoulders. We really do take them to bed at night, and it's something that we stress about. So if there's one thing that I can help you do, is help you take care of projects that you've either started or wanted to start, so they can actually help you sleep better and feel like, you know what, you've accomplished something. It's all about boosting you and everything that comes with you. So make sure to fill out that form, get done all those projects, as small or as big as they may be, and we will tackle them one at a time. Look forward to the next section. Looking forward to the next section.